Someone recently asked me a great question, and I thought I would answer it to the best of my ability for everybody. Her question was, how do I get rid of something now when I have regrets about something I have gotten rid of in the past? And now every time I go to get rid of something, I wonder, am I going to feel this way about it? Am I going to wish I had kept it? Yeah, that's a sticky one. I get it. But I have some questions to ask you in response to that. Really, what that is, it's kind of just a looking back kind of a mindset. And honestly, in my years of letting go of things, there have been items that have been more difficult for me to let go of. I may or may not have chased people down the driveway the first couple times I had garage sales and told them stories about all of my emotional attachments to that item. I know it's tricky to get rid of things when you have emotional attachment or you bought it with great anticipation and now you have to admit that maybe it's just not fitting anymore. But here's some questions that I have for you to ask around that. Instead of will I regret it, here are some things. Number one, if you're keeping everything, my question to you is this: how much money do you spend buying duplicates or buying things that you already have because you don't know where they are? That's a real hard cost. Here's my personal example. Before I started editing, every time that I wanted to make a craft, which is a huge part of what I love to do, any of you who know me, when I was in a thrift store or a consignment store or a craft store and I was getting ready to make something, I would never be able to remember if I had glue sticks for my hot glue gun, and if I did think that I had some, I didn't know where they were and I didn't want to take the time to go looking for them because that seemed impossible. So when I took the time to edit, containerize, and label my craft supplies, do you know that I had 4 years of hot glue stick supply purchased? In other words, I put all those glue sticks in a container and labeled it, and I didn't let myself buy any more glue sticks until that was gone, and it was a 4-year supply of glue sticks. Now, what if I had kept doing that, if I had kept purchasing glue sticks every single time? There's a real cost to keeping things and not knowing where they are. We buy duplicates, we buy too much, we throw away, and we waste because we don't know where they are. So yes, there might be a replacement value to something that you have to buy again in the future, but there's no way that it equals that replacement value of the stuff that you overbuy every single time because you can't find it or because you don't know if you have it when you're in the store. I promise you that. Another example of that would be a friend of mine, a very good friend who moved here to this country from another country. And when they moved, she packed up all of her things and they shipped them at their own cost from another country to here. And then because they were in a rental for 2 years, they stored all of those things and lived off of the very meagerest, smallest amount of things that they needed in their rental. Do you know what happened at the end of 2 years? When they got into their new house and she took that stuff out of storage, every single box made her sick because she was thinking of the cost of shipping it and the cost of storing it for 2 years. And the reality was it no longer fit in her life. And she didn't want anything in there. She wasn't excited to open it. There were very few things in those boxes that were worth as much to her when she opened them as they were meaning to her when she packed them. So that is a hard, expensive cost, and it's an extreme example, but I'm trying to show you that keeping everything doesn't really pay off like we would like to believe that it does. And then also I want you to think about this. What is your time and frustration worth to you? When you go to do a simple task and you have to look in 7 different places for a screwdriver because you don't have homes for your screwdrivers, what does it cost you in time every time you have to get the kids' hats out and you have to scramble past your 1982 skis in order to get the kids' snow hats, and you spend a half an hour finding things because you have everything? The reality is you cannot organize too much. So I know these are hard things to think about, but these questions are what I used when I weighed out whether or not I was keeping something way back before I was good at it. And I was pretty bad at letting go of things when I first started. I promise. I panicked. I kept things in my car. I took them to the thrift store and then immediately felt sick to my stomach. But this letting go of too much is an exercise. It's a muscle. You get better as you go, as you trust. You know, my last kind of example of this would be myself. We took our lives from a 3-bedroom home with a 3-stall garage and a basement with a storage area. And when we moved, we asked ourselves, what is the replacement value of every single thing that we may or may not put in storage over the next 2 to 3 years while we're going to be in a rental? We gave a dollar amount to our 12-year-old snowblower. We gave a dollar amount to our kitchen table and chairs. A real honest, what we thought it was worth, what we thought it might be replaced for, and then we added what storage was going to look like for 2 years, and then we added, you know, what if we don't need those things again? What if we keep this kitchen table for 2 years, and when we buy the next house, it doesn't fit in that home like we thought it would? And when we added all of those things up together, versus the cost of letting all of that go, taking that money. By the way, at that garage sale, we made $1,500 selling everything that we didn't want to store when we moved. We used that money to buy the things that fit perfectly in this space, and we will do the same thing again when we go to move. Now, did I get rid of my grandmother's hutch? I did not. We made a space for that because that was something I really, really felt strongly that I needed to keep. But I did get rid of many other pieces of furniture that had lesser value to me in order to be able to keep that one thing. And so what I mean by this is, and people ask me all the time, you got rid of everything? Do you regret anything? Is there anything that you get that you miss? You know, I have replaced 2 items in the last 18 months of living here with Les. 1 pair of scissors that I could not find anywhere, a special pair of scissors that I could not find, I don't know, and 1 fan that was $20 that we sold, but then when we got here we realized we did want a fan still after all. So those 2 items don't even equal $30. That's not even 1 month's worth of storage in a unit, right? So yes, you might, get rid of one thing that you might regret later, but weigh that up against what keeping everything is costing you. Be real about that. Like, how much is your time worth? And how much do you spend because you don't know what you have at home? And those 2 things, I think, will help you start to realize that keeping everything doesn't pay off. I'm very passionate about this one because this was the way, thinking about my belongings this way was what really freed me from that mindset of fear of, like, I'm going to regret getting rid of this. If you have questions about this, I would love to talk more with you in detail. You can sign up for an hour of coaching with me or just inbox me, and if it's something I can answer quickly, I will be happy to do that for you. Thank you always for asking questions. Questions like this inspire videos and inspire me and help me get my creative juices flowing as well. I will talk to you soon. Bye.